There's a headstone in a small cemetery in Hamden, Ohio. 2 names on it. 2 little girls. For weeks, people online following this case had no idea who they were or why their names were there. Now we know. And it's only one of several things that changed in the last month, including the most basic question of all: has anyone actually been charged with a crime yet? The answer might surprise you. New here? Watch part 1 first. Quick note before we start. This case involves child neglect and abuse. I'll keep it factual, nothing gratuitous. But if that's not what you want in your feed today, that's completely okay. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Here's the headline nobody expected. A month later, still no indictment. Not against Gary Siders Sr., not his wife Christina, not their son Gary Jr., or his wife Elizabeth. Legally, they're standing almost exactly where they stood on July 1st. Charged, not guilty, and waiting. AG Andy Wilson had publicly expected an indictment by mid to late July. That deadline came and went. Even Gary Sr.'s own attorney told reporters he has no idea when it's coming. 4 things changed the shape of this case. Number 1, the headstone. Records show that in November 2022, Elizabeth gave birth to twin girls, Bailey Lee and Faith Lee Siders. Born conjoined, around 24 weeks, dangerously premature. They lived about an hour. Natural causes, respiratory failure. It's not part of the criminal case, but it means this family may be bigger than the 16 kids we already knew about. And it finally explains that headstone. Number 2, a hard legal turn. On July 7th, all 4 defendants waived their right to a preliminary hearing, sending the case straight to a Vinton County grand jury, now under a newly appointed special prosecutor. That's not an admission of anything. Analysts say it's the defense saving its ammunition for later, not showing its hand early. Since then, 2 separate gag orders have landed too, one on Gary Jr.'s case, one on Christina's. Barring their defense teams from discussing details publicly, though the judge made clear that doesn't block access to public court records. Number 3, health entered the story on both ends of the family. Gary Sr., 73, fell while being transported out of jail and ended up hospitalized. A judge ordered a competency hearing for him, then modified his bond to release him on his own recognizance with GPS monitoring. Partly, the prosecutor said, because the county genuinely couldn't afford his medical bills if he stayed in on the original $300,000 bond. Weeks later, Gary Jr.'s attorney filed the same kind of request for him, a psychiatric competency evaluation, to determine if he's fit to stand trial. Those documents are sealed. We don't know what's in them, yet. Number 4, the state's own case started drawing fire. When this story first broke, Wilson called what investigators found pure evil and described the children in language suggesting they'd been living like wild animals. Defense attorneys pushed back hard, arguing that kind of language poisons a jury pool before anyone's even been indicted. Gary Sr.'s attorney, Dorian Baum, went further, telling reporters that evidence he's seen, including video, makes him doubt this is even a criminal case. He hasn't said publicly what he saw. Prosecutors haven't responded. Underneath it all, something more basic is still unresolved. We don't actually know who all 16 children's parents are. Birth certificates confirm Elizabeth and Gary Jr. as parents for only a handful of the kids. The oldest, the youngest, 1 set of twins. The other 12? No paper trail, either way. The family's own attorney believes all 16 are hers. Believes, not confirms. Which brings me back to the question that started this series. How does a family this size stay invisible for almost 2 decades? Before Hamden, the Siders spent roughly 4 years in a house in Gallia County. A neighbor there said the same thing we heard in Hamden. She never once saw the kids. There were open truancy cases against this family there too. Closed January 2022. Reason on file: the family couldn't be located. Nobody could even serve the paperwork. Closed. Not solved, closed. That's the pattern in this story. And it keeps repeating, not one system failing once, but several, in several counties, quietly running out the clock. And moving to the next file, I want to be really clear about something, because it matters here more than almost any story I cover. None of this is a conviction. All four adults are presumed innocent. Right now, under the law. No indictment yet, no trial date. I'll be back. The moment something moves, if you want it told straight, as it happens, instead of chasing the loudest headline, that's this channel. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.